Great. So thank you so much, Victor, and thank you to the United Cities and local government for the opportunity to share some of the work that we're engaged in the bank. As Victor says, I am the Global Disability Advisor to the World Bank Group, and I sit in the global unit and provide technical support across the bank on disability inclusion. So I think I want to start off with a very categorical statement, and that is that the bank is committed to striving for all aspects of disability inclusion in our projects. And so to make sure that this goal happens, what we've done is to put in place a disability inclusion and accountability framework that sets out a roadmap for World Bank staff on how to be more inclusive, and it identifies some key entry points. And central to these entry points is the principle around accessibility. So the entire document is built off of the principle of accessibility. The document also brings in a number of principles from the CRPD. Almost 18 months ago, the bank put in place what are a set of 10 standards, and these collectively make up the environmental social framework, which is referred to as the ESF. And the ESF is important for this discussion because it speaks directly to the issue around non-discrimination, and very importantly, introduces the concept of universal access. Now, what's important about these standards is that they offer the borrower. And this is obviously very related to the work of local government. And so I just wanted to flag those as an important piece of work that we're doing. To support the environmental social framework, we have developed a good practice note on disability and non-discrimination, and it too has a very strong dimension on accessibility. And then finally, in relation to our authorizing environment, we have 10 commitments to advance disability inclusion within the bank. These commitments were developed by our senior bank management ahead of the Global Disability Summit that was held 2 years ago in London and was co-hosted by UK Aid, the International Disability Alliance, and the Government of Kenya. Out of these 10 commitments, there are 2 commitments that are directly linked to the discussion today. The one is to ensure that all public facilities in post-disaster reconstruction are disability inclusive. And then, of course, the other one is around a commitment for better disability disaggregated data. And I'll come back to the data piece in a bit in relation to COVID-19. But just to quickly say, in order to monitor these commitments, we're undertaking a portfolio review of our urban projects, and we're benchmarking disability inclusive indicators for our projects. And this is with a view to develop a baseline. So what's central to the work of the bank, central to the work that we do at the bank, is to provide the technical and intellectual leadership on disability inclusion. And so what we do, a large part of what I do and my team does, is to build the analytics and the evidence around disability inclusion. And to this end, we've developed some very relevant technical guidance for bank staff. One of them is a very popular guidance book on disability inclusion in water operations. And that obviously is very relevant today when you think about the importance of hand washing and good hygiene. Similarly, we have developed a guidebook on disability measurement that sets out how to better collect comparable data, disability disaggregated, and introduces the use of the Washington Group short set of questions. So in many ways, this is a great segue to the importance of data and the importance of the lived experience of persons with disabilities in the time of COVID. And so we at the bank are delighted, absolutely delighted, to be partnering with World Enabled and the UCLG on the survey. And I would strongly encourage you to take the survey and share it widely amongst your networks, because we know that data is our solution to effective and inclusive policies and responses. More specifically on COVID-19 and persons with disabilities, at the bank, we've pushed out an issues paper on persons with disabilities that is being used for internal purposes. We've also provided technical expertise to teams in the bank on how to include persons with disabilities in various responses, And I have presented to senior bank officials on alternative formats for consultations of persons with disabilities and DPOs in forthcoming projects given the COVID-19 situation. I wanted to stress the point that we continue to host a series of check-ins with our colleagues at country level to make sure that we have the pulse of what's going on the ground. We're working very closely on the education piece. We currently know that 1.3 billion children are out of school, and that many of those will be children with disabilities. And so we are looking at supporting work around that. Again, through a survey which has gone out, we've had 3,000 responses to the survey that looks at the impact of COVID on children with disability. And then I just want to close by saying that this survey will become part of a larger discussion paper, which will be a global public good, so we will share that. And then flag the important point around sustained coordination. And this is great to be part of this discussion today, but I think sustained coordination means we go on after this. And therefore, I'm really excited to have been asked to join a UN time-bound task team under the leadership of the Undersecretary General Menendez. So that should be a very exciting initiative. And finally, I look forward to working with you all and learning about what works, but also learning about what doesn't work. And again, I invite you all to please take the survey, because data is going to be the solution for how we move forward. Thank you, Victor.